Nervous system is an organized network of brain, spinal cord and nerves. Nerves are specialized for conducting information from one part of the body to another. All the receptors in the sense organs receive stimuli from the surrounding environment and send the message conveyed by them to the spinal cord and brain in the form of electrical impulses through the sensory nerves. Another type of nerves called motor nerves transmit the response from the brain and spinal cord to the effectors, again in the form of electrical impulses. Let us see nervous system is actually made up of what? It is made up of neuron. It is the structural and the functional unit of nervous system that carry messages in the form of electrical signals called electrical impulses. A neuron has three components: cell body, dendrite and the axon. The shorter fibers on the body of neuron are called dendrites. The longest fiber on the cell body of a neuron is called axon. The dendrites pick up the nerve impulses from the receptors. They pass the impulses to the cell body and then along the axon. The axon passes the impulse to another neuron through a junction called synapse. Any two neurons in the nervous system do not join to one another completely. There is always a very small gap between two neurons, which is called synapse. The nerve impulses are carried over the small gap between a pair of neurons by means of a chemical substance called neurotransmitter substance. The receptor in a sense organ is in touch with the dendrites of a sensory neuron. When a stimulus acts on the receptor, a chemical reaction is set off which produces an electrical impulse in it. This impulse travels from the dendrite of a sensory neuron to its cell body and then along its axon. At the end of axon of sensory neuron, the electrical impulse releases tiny amount of chemical substance into the gap, that is synapse. This chemical substance crosses the gap and starts a similar electrical impulse in the dendrite of the next neuron. From the dendrite, this electrical impulse is carried to the cell body and then to the end of the axon of the second neuron. It can then be transferred to a third neuron in a similar way, and this process goes on till the electrical impulse reaches the relay neurons in a spinal cord and brain. The relay neurons and the motor neurons connect in a similar way to bring electrical impulses from the brain and spinal cord to the effectors like muscles and glands. So we have understood that the overall function of nervous system is to control and coordinate of all the activities. It receives information from the surroundings, then process it, then interpret it, and then finally responds accordingly.